Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Happy Friday. Happy payday to half of you. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you see we've got a special guest with us. Blackhawks forward MacKenzie Entwistle is standing by. But before we get started with the interview, I want to remind everybody to smash that like button on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast apps as well. MacKenzie, thanks for doing this. I know you're looking forward to getting the offseason started, but we wanted to pick your brain one more time before the summer came. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's been going great. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited.
Of course. Let's get started. You know, this season we talked to you. I'm not sure if you remember, but we talked to you before the season began at the morning skate in Denver. We made our trip out there. And one of the things you said was, you know, the team had sort of heard the critics and we're looking forward to kind of proving everybody wrong. I know that the record was not what you desire, but do you feel like you sort of that the Hawks made a statement this year with the way they played night after night?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a tough season. You know, I think you guys saw it firsthand. I think, you know, losing isn't fun. You know, I do think we made a lot of strides. I think a lot of people going into the season, like you said, was, you know, they said that we were going to be, you know, the last place team, you know, weren't going to win many games. And, you know, I think we proved, you know, there was a lot of games that we were in, a lot of 1-goal games, a lot of games that I thought maybe we could have ended up on the right side of, and we just didn't, whether it was, you know, we fell short, whether it was, you know, overtime or shootout or, you know, I think the first half of the year, I remember we had a bunch of overtime losses and a bunch of games that, you know, could have went our way. But, you know, obviously that's in the past, but I think, you know, it was a fun year. It was a challenging year. We had a lot of ups and downs, but as a team, we came together and, you know, like I said, it was a fun, great group of guys. And, you know, obviously looking forward to next year.
From the outside looking in, we spent a lot of time really praising Luke Richardson because, you know, when you look at the whole of the season and, you know, you mentioned the expectations and all the attention surrounding Kane and Toews and their futures, and then leading up to the trade deadline, who was going to stay, who was going to go, you guys sort of had every excuse to just say, screw it, you know, let's just coast to the end here. And you guys didn't. You played hard until the end of the year. What does that say about Luke Richardson, and what was your experience like with him this year?
Yeah, Luke was great. He obviously from day one, he kind of preached exactly what he wanted, and that was work ethic. That was every single night trying to be a team that you know, competes and you know, obviously being a younger team, I think you know, being able to try to at least you know, have that mentality every single night and you know, okay, you know, let's say the Boston Bruins are coming in to play the Blackhawks. They know, you know, this is going to be a tough game. This is, you know, they may be young, they may be you know, some names on paper that some of these big boys don't know, but I think you know, from day one, Luke said, you know, let's be a hardworking team. Let's be a team that's you know, kind of is a pain in the butt you know, every single night. And you know, I do think we did that. And I do think, you know, obviously there were some games that, you know, weren't our best and weren't the greatest, but I think, you know, Luke from day one and along with the coaching staff kind of preached exactly what he wanted. And we started building those, you know, I guess we can call them foundation blocks. And obviously they can get better. But I do think that we did take a big stride from previous years in this year. So, you know, like I said, it was fun. Obviously sucks losing, but no, Luke and the coaching staff were great.
One of the buzzwords that I think we kind of heard often towards the end of the season, and especially in, you know, on basically exit interview day, was you know, culture and what Luke had and the coaching staff had done to kind of set up a culture. you've been around for a little while with the organization. How has it kind of developed over the last few years to what it was this year, where it seemed like a lot of the guys were all on the same page and all kind of going out of their way to talk about, the environment of the team?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's easy in professional sports, not just hockey. I think and honestly, probably in every workspace. I think it's hard when you're going through a rough stretch. Whatever you're in. I think especially in sports, it's you come in. There's media. There's always people, your friends, your family. Everyone's kind of asking, what's going on. What's this? Why are you playing so bad? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And in order to sort of stay together, I think it's really easy for when you're losing, let's say five games in a row, you lose 5 games in a row, and now all of a sudden everyone's asking those questions. I think it's easy to become separate and point fingers and say, this is what's going on, this is why, this is this. And I think there wasn't much of that, if any of that this year, and I think that's what made our group a special group. And I think that's exactly what the coaches preach from day one is there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and there's always ups and downs in life. There's ups and downs in professional sports, and it's just a matter of how you handle it. And that's just the culture. All that comes down to the culture at the end of the day. And I think Luke and the coaching staff and even the management is tried to really take the culture to the next level and tell everyone this is how it's going to be. This is what it's this is what we expect from you guys. And that's honestly what made it fun. To come into the rink every single day, seeing everyone smiling, everyone having fun, and that goes a long way for sure.
Yeah, not to focus too much on last year, but I think Hawks fans and people like us, we kind of are comparing the 2 years, right? Where we talked to Derek King, kind of right before the season ended last year, maybe with like 15, 20 games to go, and we asked him what the room was like when he took over for Jeremy Colliton. I think he used the word broken, and just said that guys were really kind of dispirited and everybody was
fragile.
Sort of fragile was the word. Thank you. And and it's understandable. Everything, the controversy that happened coming into the season, and the expectations with the reality. How do you juxtapose the way things felt last year to this year, and what do you think is the main difference for those feelings?
Yeah, like I said, I think that's exactly what happened to us last year. Was you come to the rink and you're on a skid, and it almost wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't fun, because you're playing hockey. You're every day's fun. But it was almost just exactly what you said, kind of fragile. Everyone was kind of walking on eggshells, and you wanted to change, and you wanted to, I don't think it was a lack of not trying. I think everyone was trying. Everyone was trying to put their best effort forward, and everyone was. It was just a matter of we were losing. We're just losing every single game, and that's really not fun. It just got to us, I think. And then you kind of have you have a bunch of different obstacles, and then you have a couple new coaching changes that come into play, and it was just kind of all over the map. I think this year it just really everyone just kind of came together, and it was just more of a flat, straight line, more of a road where, okay, this is how it's going to be. This is what we're going to do in the D zone. This is what we're going to do in the neutral zone. And it just kind of made now all of a sudden for us, just let's go out and play. Let's go out and play. This is what we think, it's going to work. And this is how we want you to do it. And as players, that was great, because it makes it a lot easier going out there every single day, knowing, okay, this is what he wants. This is what we're going to do. And then if there was a breakdown, or there was let's say in the D zone, there was a breakdown or goal scored. Well, let's talk about it. Let's see, why, what happened? Let's, this is what we're going to try to fix. This is how we're going to do better. So, just holding everyone accountable and I think honestly that was really the difference between last year and this year was just being able to just be more clear and be more focused on what we have to do rather than what we're going to do for other teams when they come in. Let's just focus on us. Let's focus what we do, and that's really what we did this year.
You obviously had the chance to play with Jonathan Toews, and I remember at the end of last year he said something along the lines of, "I'm not sure how to lead a team like this, like a team that's not doing well." I think it was kind of a moment of honesty from him, from a guy who's always been a winner. It seemed like a kind of a different Jonathan Toews this year. And you mentioned, you come into the room and everybody's smiling and having a good time. What did you see from him in his kind of reimagined leadership role this year?
Yeah, Taser's great. It was pretty emotional, I think, for me at least, and I know for a lot of guys was obviously I didn't play with Taser, years like Shazi and those guys did when they first came in the league, but it just goes to show. I've been with Taser for a couple of years now. It just goes to show the person he is, and when he was skating around that last game, and when he scored that goal, and then obviously in overtime he could have put it away, and I was sitting beside him. I think I was a couple down from him off the bench, and when he came off, and then they went down and scored. He's like, sorry boys. It's like that just goes to show the type of guy he is, and he's honestly, to this day, he's gonna be one of my best buddies, and I'll still keep in touch with him. But yeah, I think he was that. Honestly, for us as younger guys looking up to him, I was coming into the league and being a little kid, I was 9-10 years old, and seeing Taser playing with the Hawks and Kane and guys like that those are people I idolize and I watched growing up, and they were my favorite players, and that's and then in order to be and then now be playing with them, it was something crazy, and now being able to know him as a person away from the rink is even more special, and I think he just kind of had that same mentality. He said, this is a different team than, I think that's maybe the hardest part for the older guys was, this is a different team than he had when they were winning the 3 cups, and these guys were all, Hall of Fame players and I think it's easy to go into games and just say, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to win. And this is, we might not play our best game, but with our team, we couldn't really do that. We couldn't go into a game saying, okay, yeah, let's just go out there and, if you have a night off, and well, if I have a night off or a guy has a night off, then now all of a sudden we're down a couple goals and we lose the game, So, Taser was great with just keeping us all even keel and keeping the room positive. And even when he was hurt, he was still out and, at the rink, and he was helping us out and cheering us up. And, he's an amazing person, amazing human, a great leader.
So when you said you've played a few seasons with both of them and grew up watching them play. Was there a moment where you were with the team at the NHL level playing alongside them that kind of instilled in you hey, I'm an NHL player alongside these guys? Was there a moment that you can recall that you kind of got that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there was an exact specific moment in time where I kind of sat back and said, wow, I think it is kind of easy just to get caught up in the moment. I guess you'd say is every day, you're coming in the room with these guys, and now you see them, as a little kid, you see them as idols, and you see them as Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, these guys, and then you see them every single day, and then you become, you make a friendship with them. And then it's kind of hard to, I don't want to say it's hard to idolize them, but it's now you just say, you joke around with them, and, he says something or something happens, a misplay or something. Now he's, this is what you effing got to do, or, kind of just having fun with you. But that's just the type of person he was. And I, like I said, I don't think there was necessarily an exact moment in time. I think now when you sit back and talk about it, and now maybe I'm not going to play with him again, on the Blackhawks, it's going to be, a little weird. And I think maybe now, even Kane, or when they both left, now it's going to be like, this is a little bit weird. And maybe that'll be my time to maybe sit back and just reflect on, sort of the memories and the times I had with them, both. But yeah, he's great. He's awesome. And I'm definitely going to miss him.
Well, that leads nicely into the next bit of questions we had for you, because at the end of the season, Kyle Davidson talked about sort of clearing the decks now for this new group of young leaders to step up. And I think as we sort of analyze who those players might be, there's obviously Connor Murphy and Seth Jones, two of the veterans of the team that have been here or are going to be here for a long time. But where do you see yourself in that picture? You've always been a guy who we can turn to for a good and thoughtful, quote about the game, or just thought about the team or whatever. Do you find yourself sort of sliding into a leadership role, maybe intentionally or unintentionally?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think I've said this in a couple of interviews this year was the captains in the leadership group this year really from day one kind of drilled in, to all the young guys, especially said, listen, this is, yeah, I wear, tasers. Yeah, I wear the C and Murph. Yeah, I wear an A. And these guys, they've obviously been around the league, won Stanley Cups, but I think they kind of said everyone has a voice in this room and everyone can be a leader. Sometimes it's tough every single night for Taser to say, hey, this is we're playing bad. This is what we got to do, or this and that. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, every single day you wake up and maybe you don't have it that day or whatever. So it's huge for young guys to step up or really anyone to step up and say, this is what I think. This is what I think, we got to do. Come on, let's, just little words. And I think that did go a long way. I think there was a lot of guys speaking up. A lot of guys being, a kind of a leader in their own ways. And it really showed, and especially in the dressing room. I think a lot of people, obviously you guys don't see that part of it. But no, I would love to be a leader. I've been a leader in obviously junior, but that's a little bit different. But I do think, that would be a huge step. I think for me, I think personally, I don't know if it was a great year, but, I think, you can still lead by example, whether it's on the ice or off the ice in the community. And I think that's what, makes those guys, the leaders they are.
You talk about, kind of stepping up, being a leader and being out in the community. In the last 2 seasons, we've seen you kind of do a lot of the promotional stuff for the team, whether it's posing for the Blackhawks store for all their merchandise or doing some of the the TV timeout, in arena videos and stuff like that. Do you get a sense by, when you're doing those things pretty frequently that, the team feels like they want you to kind of be more of a face of the team kind of moving forward as, this new era of Blackhawks hockey is coming through? Do you kind of get the sense that like you yourself might be kind of one of the faces as it moves into the next few years?
I would love to be with the Blackhawks for my whole NHL career, whether that happens or whether it doesn't. That's ultimately up to myself. And like I said, I think this year I don't want to say I had a bad year, but I don't think I had a great year. It's a big off season for me. I think I think next year I really got to come in and kind of show them what the type of player I am. At the end of the day, you can do all the the social media things, you can do all that stuff, but that doesn't you got to be a good hockey player, and obviously being singing karaoke and stuff, that's not really, obviously that's fun and that's fun away from the rink. But I think for me personally, I think it's going to be a big summer for me. I think coming into next year, I really got to prove what type of player I'm going to be, and if I want to play in the league for a long time, I got to start proving why. And I think, like I said, it's going to be a big off season, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the challenge, and I'm excited for the team's future.
What sort of feedback did you get on your game from the coaching staff as you were headed out? Exit interviews. What do they want you to work on this summer?
Yeah, I think they just said bigger. Try to come back in bigger, stronger. The typical things. I think I've heard that my whole life. I want to. Obviously put on weight. I want to be sort of a big power forward. But I think, they kind of preached to me, they said, if you're going to play 10 years, what type of player are you going to be? What type of player do you see yourself being? And for me, I think being a third, fourth line guy that can, play against other teams' top lines, and kind of make it hard for them to play every single night, kind of frustrate them. There's tons of guys around the league that you can, kind of watch and pick their game apart and, kind of take it into and put it into my game. I think I kind of did get a little bit away from that this year for whatever reason. But like I said, I think they just want to know exactly what type of player I'm going to be. And at the end of the day, it's going to be up to me to show them and to prove to them why, I'm going to fit that role and why, they should sign me for the future and why I should be a part of the future. Obviously I want to be, and I want to be a part of, the Blackhawks being at their low and ultimately try to win a Stanley Cup with them. That would be pretty fun. And that would be a pretty cool experience. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's up to me.
You mentioned changing roles or maybe changing the way you played to figure out how you need to stay in the NHL and succeed in the NHL. And a lot of young players have difficulty doing that. They come from their juniors or college where they're offensive stars, but not everybody can be an offensive star in the NHL. Right. You need those bottom six guys. How quickly did that transition take place for you? Or was it a specific coach or anything like that said, hey, I think in order for you to get to that next level and stay there, this is what you got to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, obviously everyone in the NHL is skilled. You look at fourth lines, you look at, watching the playoffs now, you see some of these third, fourth lines that are great and they're great at their roles. They're great at, you could say a Tampa Bay. You look at that Cirelli line. They've consistently played hard every single night. They know, I think their coach knows exactly what you're getting out of them, and playing them, exactly, okay, you're matched up against Cirelli, you're matched up against these guys. This is exactly how they're going to play. You know what they're going to do. You're going to play a hard game, and they do chip in offensively, but and I think for me, that's exactly what that's the point I'm trying to get across to, is I need to be that type of player. And I don't necessarily think it was a coach, but I think everyone, puts up 70 points in junior, and everyone, there's some guys that put up 150. Obviously those guys are the guys that are going to get to the next level, and they're going to be point guys. But, I think for me, I know that I don't think I'm going to be putting up, I don't want to say I can't, but I don't think I'm going to be putting up 50 goals anytime soon, So for me, just to really dial in my D zone, whether that's, even coach trusting me to be out there for a face-off, and with the last 5 minutes to go in a game, you're up a goal, you need a big face-off, so just taking your game to the next level, whether it's a face-off, whether it's the D zone, whether it's it's a neutral zone draw, you're against the top line, let's throw this guy out, let's throw this line out, and the coach is going to have trust in you. So that's eventually where I want to get to my game to, and get my game to that level. And like I said, obviously it's going to be a big summer, and at the end of the day, it's going to be for me and whoever my line mates are to prove that.
So you got a big summer ahead of you on, working out and get ready for next season. But what does the rest of the off season look like for you? Are you big into golf? I know some of the guys are getting married this summer. What's it look like for you as you kind of take this time off and get ready for next season?
Yeah, it'll be obviously longer than what you want it to be when you're playing hockey. But, I think I don't have too much planned. Like you said, there's a couple guys getting married. So I'll be going. I got a couple weddings that I'm going to go to. And then obviously training, working out and skating. That's the obvious. That'll be every day. But in terms of hobbies, I like, golf obviously is a big one. And then, my family owns a lake house up north, just a couple hours north of Toronto, and the skiing, the fishing, the surfing, just the water sports is always fun on the weekend. So I'm just hanging out, and that's really it. Not too much planned.
That's nice. We're available if you want to do like a live podcast from your lake house. We're definitely up to that. Are you keeping an eye on the playoffs here as they get underway?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I've been watching it pretty closely. It's been good. It's been an entertaining first couple games, I think.
Who's your cup pick?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to say Boston. Obviously they've had the year they had. I don't know. I think maybe from the West, I'll pick two. I think maybe from the West, I'll pick. It's gonna be tough. I'll pick Colorado, and then from the East, I'll pick Boston. I'll pick Boston. Although I do obviously love. I've been keeping an eye on Kane and Hags and all my buddies. Obviously, watch those games pretty closely. But yeah, it's been fun. Obviously cheering for those guys too.
Got a couple of questions from the audience, if you don't mind, real quick.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Our buddy Narfin says, which young player that's in the system or coming up are you looking forward to playing with?
Yeah, I think Reichs. Reichs is obviously you've seen glimpses of him, and he's been up and down. I think he's unbelievable. I think the skill that kid has is off the charts. I remember sitting there after a couple of games and sitting down and after the game I checked my phone and Kane texts me and then he goes, I think Reichs may be the real deal. I said, yeah, I think he is. So, no, I'm just excited for Reichs. Obviously it's he's been developing and he's been playing in the minors for a little bit. And obviously he's been tearing it up down there. He's been great. And then when he comes up with the Hawks, he's been great too. So obviously he's a great kid, great player. I'd probably say that he's probably my pick to be most excited for.
And then Ken wants to know who brought in the puppies at the end of the season, and did any of the players adopt any of them?
I don't exactly know who brought them in or how that was all picked. I think they named some of the dogs our nicknames. Actually Reese Johnson actually adopted one. So he brought, there it is. Yeah. So Reeser brought one and, so I think they named her, Daisy. There it is. Daisy. Yeah.
Whose nickname on the team is Daisy?
I think they just picked that name.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know maybe that was going to be Reeser, I guess. Maybe that was Reeser, but they ended up picking him. So it's cute.
All right. Well,
That's awesome.
Since we've had you on for 26 minutes, we need to admit something to you. The beginning of the season, I mentioned how we taught you in Denver, and we asked you what it was like being on the road to start the season, and we're going to play your response for you and then let you in on something.
It's fun. That's how you get to know guys. That's how I think it's easy when you're at home in your home city. All the guys have families. All the guys are kind of doing their own thing, sometimes away from the rink. For someone like me, I don't have a family, so I'm kind of always wanting to do something.
So the fact that you told us that you don't have a family kind of dawned on us after the interview. So it became a running joke throughout the season that anytime you would do something well, we do our 4-star of the game or player of the game or whatever, and we'd be like, it's just a shame that his family wasn't around to see it. And we just played the joke the entire season, and it became this thing. So if anyone comes up to you and says, I'm sorry to hear about your family, don't panic. Everything's okay. That might just be...
That's funny you say that because I got the Twitter notification and someone said, I want to say maybe it was you guys that tweeted out that I was going to be on the show, and someone said, are his foster parents going to be there? I'm like, what's that mean? Like, what is he talking about? But no, what I meant by that was like I don't have any kids, and but obviously my family is great there.
And we do have to point out that all three of us have interacted with your parents on Twitter. They're big fans of you. So we all are aware of Margaret and Dave. So it's
we knew what you meant, but you have to realize, and this is good information heading into next season. You're dealing with 3 childish men right here that just love to just somehow pass the time in a post-game show with a few chuckles. So
I love it.
Thanks for being a good sport about that. And I love the fact that other people are now picking up it. That means people are actually listening, which is good for us.
Yeah, that's funny. That's awesome.
All right, well, now you're in on the joke, so I don't know if we have to retire it or if we just keep it going. Maybe you score a goal and point to the sky or something like that now. That's your new Sally or something like that. MacKenzie, thanks for taking time, man. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you hopefully sooner than later. Have a great summer.
Awesome. Thanks very much for having me, guys. Have a great summer.
All right, man. Take care.
Thanks, MacKenzie. You too.
Awesome. That is Blackhawks forward MacKenzie Entwistle. Please minimize my head size, Lawrence. I'm very self-conscious in this moment.
We will interview Jay.
He took that well.
That was great. Yeah.
I want to know who the jagweed is in the comments.
No, I think
No,
I actually
it's
think
somebody on Twitter. I saw it.
I think it's our guy Charlie, the bacon guy.
Oh, it might have been Charlie. Yeah,
Said something
because
where
I tagged Mackenzie's Twitter handle in one of the tweets, so I
think
kind
it
of
was-
set it up that if someone made the joke, he might have seen it.
I think it was our guy Charlie. Something about like if he needs a foster home,
Yeah,
I have room and bacon.
and bacon. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, I'm
That was great.
I'm glad that went well.
Yeah, I mean, just in talking to him throughout the course of the year, he's a funny dude, and that was good. I'm really glad to have him on. Like
Yeah.
And what I like too is him starting the conversation about him having to improve and him having to get better and him knowing that his spot here is not guaranteed by any means.
Yeah.
So for him to be the guy, we are going to get there, of course. But for him to be the guy who says, "Hey, wait a minute, before we talk about me as a leader long term, I need to be a better hockey player." That's a very aware young man, and very easy to root for. Very easy to root for.
Yeah, he very insightful. I was very I was impressed by the amount of depth and kind of information that he gave us in some of his answers, and it was that was great talking with him. Hope to have more of that with him and other players as we go on here through the offseason and into next season. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good head on his shoulders. That will serve him well as we move forward. And speaking of heads on your shoulders,
they have eyeballs.
They do. Your eyeballs are on the head that is on your shoulder. And as soon as I get the correct read up here, I'm going to tell you all about our buddies, our pals, our super friends over at Shady Rays. Well, they will help you take on the sun with gear built to last. Shady Rays has you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers world-class product that's just as good, but I say even better. They're too humble over at Shady Rays. They're better than any expensive pair I've ever worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for your outdoor adventures, like sitting in traffic on the Kennedy Expressway. That's the only outdoor adventures I get these days, but Shady Rays comes in handy. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses are backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, like literally take them out of the box, drop them, break them. I've been known to do that before. They will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. And together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much needed support to nonprofit partners across the United States. Through the Shady Rays Impact Program, they're doing everything from donating meals to building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS with the outdoor adventure of a lifetime. Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others just like it now and for years to come. And once again, if you don't like your Shady Rays, and I don't see why you wouldn't, but if you're a weirdo and you don't like them, you can exchange for a new pair and return them absolutely free of charge within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop over at shadyrays.com. And while you're over at shadyrays.com, use that promo code CHGO, and you're going to get 50% off any order of 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the Shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 folks.
Hey, do you guys like watching sports?
Sometimes.
Not really.
Oh, well, you guys can tune this out then. But for everybody else that likes watching sports, you should do it at Fubo TV. 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device. Watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. And speaking about watching the most sports, the other night I was watching my Fubo TV and I was watching playoff hockey and the Cubs simultaneously with the multi-picture. I got the Leafs getting hammered by the Lightning. I've got the Golden Knights getting hammered by the Jets and the Cubs hammering the Oakland A's on the top right corner. And I can switch the sound of those broadcasts with the swipe of a thumb on my Apple TV remote. If you've got a Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku stick, whatever, a smart TV, you will have access to Fubo TV. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO. You can start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. There is no contract. There is no cable. There is no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge. You've got the NFL draft next week, the NHL draft coming up soon. NHL and NBA playoffs are underway. And here's the big thing, Cub fans. If you want to cut the cord and watch the Cubs, Fubo TV is the only place with Marquee Sports Network. So if you're a streamer, Marquee is your place to be. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO and use the link in our description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. I use it every day. I love it. It is my go-to for television, and it's great. Hey, the other thing I want to mention, there's a lot of things for Matt Whistle I want to talk about. Kane texting him saying, this Reichel kid's the real deal. That's exciting.
That's cool.
It's high praise.
Yes, that's a guy. We talk about this with Kane all the time. It's how he is such a student of the game. He's always up on how everybody else around the league's doing, his own stats, those sort of things. Man, for Patrick Kane to take a moment to text MacKenzie Entwistle, this dude can play. That's something.
Yeah, if I had to guess between Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, which one of those guys not only becomes an NHL general manager, but a successful NHL general manager, my money is on Patrick Kane because he's always just in tune with everything going around the league, and he studies stuff hard. I mean, he's one of the smartest hockey individuals I've ever been around in my life. So yeah, to have Patrick Kane say that, while it's one thing for him to say that when he's on the team, but for him when he's no longer on the team to text his former teammates to say that, that's pretty encouraging.
Yeah, because that's him, checking back with what the Blackhawks are doing, or seeing highlights, watching NHL Network or something, and seeing Reichel and being like, oh shit, let me talk to my guys back there. And yeah, that's a pretty cool little moment, little nugget there from Kane. And yeah, that's a pretty nice stamp of approval, kind of an indication from him and what he sees out of Lukas Reichel and what he could become. So yeah, I mean, like MacKenzie said it, that he's excited to see Reichel next season. I think we all are, and that's gonna be one of the big focal points for next year is what he does as a full-time NHL player, and it's exciting.
The other thing too that Entwistle said, and it kind of piggybacks on Kane texting him, is how him and Toews became kind of fast friends. And I think that talks a lot about both Toews and Kane being guys that this year were very welcoming of young players and helping them along, and not treating them like us versus them. It's all us, which is a great way to lead a young team, make them feel part of things. And sort of alluded to that at the end of the year too, and so did Alex Vlasic when we talked to him the other day. But I just think every time I talk to Entwistle, I'm just so impressed by his maturity. He talks like he's been in the league for 15 years. He just, I don't know. He's so media savvy. He's so smart. He, thoughtful in his answers. We've talked to players that have very little to say and very few words to use. Right. And it's just, maybe they don't value it. Maybe they just aren't comfortable with it. It's fine. But man, to talk to, there's a reason he was on the top of our list for an offseason interview, because we knew he was going to be good. I said 25 minutes, that should be fine. We could have talked to him for the entire hour. I had
we could have
asked him, but I wanted to be respectful of his time. It's just, I don't know. And he's right. There is no guarantee that he's going to be here long term, because he's looking over his shoulder and seeing those guys in Rockford. It's not going to be Lukas Reichel that takes his job, but Ryder Ralston, that's a guy who could take his job. There's a lot of guys coming up that could be like Ludwinski, guys like that. Samuel Savoie, my guy, coming up the ranks, that looking at those bottom six roles, and he realizes that he needs to bulk up. He realizes he needs to start putting the puck in the net a little more frequently.
That's good. That's a good thing for him to see and know that that's coming. It's an extra motivation, because he would love to be in Chicago. We all know though that it's a business and stuff, but it seems like that's the only professional organization that he knows that he's been in, and it would be cool, as he said, for him to be here for when things were at a low point, but also for when they're at a high point. Like that would be quite the career perspective to take. Be at the NHL level when you're losing tons of games, but then still be there in the same locker room, in the same building when you're winning a ton of games. Like that'd be a lot of fun and to experience, not only, as a fan, but also for him as a player. So yeah, it's extra motivation for him. And yeah, like we've said, like he's an easy guy to root for on this team.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you got guys coming up, Jalen Lipin's another guy that will play an Entwistle kind of role, a pesky bottom six guy. So the fact that he sees that, hey, you know what, nothing is guaranteed here. I got to be better because there's younger, hungrier guys coming to take my spot. I got to be just as hungry. And it's kind of weird saying younger than MacKenzie Entwistle because he seems like, he still is a very young player, but that's good to hear. Good to hear from him, to hear that from him. And as long as he keeps progressing and keeps doing everything that Luke Richardson asks him, I could see him being here throughout the rebuild and beyond and become one of those, unsung hero kind of guys on a good team, because we've seen how Kyle Davidson values high character people, not just players, but coaches and front office. It's all about high character. He wants good human beings to be part of this organization. And, we've known it well before this interview, but I think a lot of our listeners got a chance to see that high character and MacKenzie Entwistle go hand in hand. And that bodes well for him long-term staying here as well, as long as he keeps, improving and doing those things he needs. And yeah, he's only 23 years old. So like there's a lot of time for him, and the Hawks have nothing but patience right now, as we've seen. So this is a really good situation for a kid like that to come in a team where he's well respected, he's well liked, he fits the mold of exactly what the general manager and coach wants, maximum effort with high character. You've got both of those with him. There's no doubts about that. I don't think at one point in this season, watching all 82 games, that either any of us say, God, MacKenzie Entwistle just completely biffed that shift. He took that one off. He's not in it tonight. I don't think that thought ever crossed our mind. So he's in a really good situation for a player like him. Perfect situation, actually, because on a lot of other organizations, he'd be an AHL and that's all he'd be, but he's getting the chance to play at the NHL every night. And he's been exceeding. He was on the power play for most of this season, penalty kill, playing big defensive shifts. He's getting the opportunity and he's making the most of it. So as you said earlier, very easy to root for. And this is a guy I'd love to see around for a long time.
We played 66 games this year, and I think, the only games he missed, I know he missed a few with an injury, and I know he was healthy scratched a handful of times, but it was more about like keeping the rotation going.
Yeah.
And
that was towards the end of the year. Yeah,
that was when Toews came back, and I think that wrist wasn't 100%. That wrist injury nagged him most of the year. He said exit interview day that he's not going to have any kind of surgery, but hopefully a summer of rest will get that back in shape. So, hockey players need wrists last time I checked.
Two of them.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Two help. Yeah. One is good. Two is better.
That's very helpful. Anything else stand out from that, or do we want to move on and talk about Greg's favorite Canadian hockey team?
We can move on to that. I think we're due for another Greg rant.
Yeah, we put it out yesterday that the Maple Leafs need to kind of sack up and get tough a little bit, and boy, they certainly did that last night. I mean, that was a different team, and they lose 7-3 in the first game, and then they go and beat Tampa 7-2. Like, take that.
Didn't we see some of that last year, though?
Yeah.
We're like the first two games of the series last year, blowouts, and then it kind of settled down, and we got those 3-2, 4-3 type games we expected. Hey, hats off to the Maple Leafs for the response. They got exactly what they wanted. Mitch Marner didn't get an assist like we wanted him to for our play of the week, but none of those guys actually did. That was a complete bust. My bad. That means I don't have to pick it next week. But yeah, the response, I don't have a rant here because they played a great game. And I think the Michael Bunting suspension actually let Sheldon Keefe put together a better lineup. John Tavares has been on fire, and he was able to, put him in a better combination, I think. And it doesn't hurt that the top two Tampa defensemen missed the game with injuries. One because of what Michael Bunting did. So no Eric Cernak and no Victor Hedman certainly helps.
Yes.
When you're the Maple Leafs. So, obviously Tampa's hoping those guys can come back sooner rather than later. They're going to need them back and quickly because Andrei Vasilevsky looked human last night, and he's looked human at times this season. And not having those two big defensemen out there are definitely going to expose him a little more. So, but hey, as I've learned for the last 3 seasons, and we saw this in this same series last year, I'm not writing the Lightning off. I wasn't about to write the Maple Leafs off after game 1. I was close. I had the pen in my hand, but I wasn't ready to do it quite yet. And then that response is exactly what you would hope to see. You didn't see that response from the New Jersey Devils.
No.
But basically last night, you saw the responses from the teams that needed to have the big response, except for the Devils, who are in trouble.
Well, let's spend some time on that Rangers and Devils series, because last night was that was some vintage Showtime we were seeing on the ice in New Jersey. That backhand goal was shades of the dynasty from Patrick Kane.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you've seen that similar highlight so many times, but to see it in a different setting, in a different color scheme, was interesting. But I mean, we're used to it now, but it's still, to see him in the playoffs and get to that level that we've all seen him, get to before in the postseason. It was refreshing to see, because, there were times when he was in Chicago this year where it was just like, you could say, like, man, he looks like he's now at the back end of his career where the downslide is going to come. And then he got to New York, and a little bit more motivation, maybe a little bit better players around him. It's a pretty good mixture for him. And then you get to the playoffs, and there's a reason that his nickname is Showtime. It's when the lights are the brightest, that's when he really comes out. So we saw that last night, and I think, the Rangers going back to Madison Square Garden with a 2-0 lead, like that's dangerous for the Devils.
Yeah, they're going to need some goaltending. They're going to need their offense to show up. But other than that, they're going to be okay. So it's kind of weird, with this series. Yes, the Rangers technically won 2 road games, but they're barely road games. They took a 20-minute bus ride, and by the sounds of it, there were more Rangers fans than Devils fans at both of those games. And then the Devils got to go on the road, and they got to take the 20-minute bus ride the other way. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton of Devils fans, including David Putty, at Madison Square Garden for Game 3. So, it's interesting how the narrative have changed on Patrick Kane, especially with New York. When he didn't, there was a lot of criticism early on. But listen, that's a guy that's just trying to get through those last regular season games unscathed so he can get to this moment and do what he does best. And I don't like seeing him doing it for the Rangers, because you know how I feel about the Rangers, but it's still a legendary playoff performer who refuses to lose. And now the Rangers are getting a taste of what we enjoyed for so many years.
Yeah, look, Tom says, I guess he's not a liability like some Rangers fans have labeled him, and Jason says Rangers fans are shading Kane. Look, we all have been a little bit blinded to Patrick Kane's deficiencies because of those moments in the playoffs, and because of those, delivering on the biggest stages.
I wouldn't say blinded. I wouldn't say blinded. I think we all know that he's not a defensive forward, but it makes up for the fact that he can put up 100 points. He's
built up some credit, right? Yeah. So those moments, those lapses where you see him, you're kind of like, all right, well, we know eventually he's going to score a hat trick in the biggest possible moment, so you live with it. Yeah. Rangers fans didn't have that. They just saw they gave up a pretty decent haul to get Patrick Kane there, and then they see this guy who's like, what is this? Like, he's not engaged defensively at all. He's not scoring at the level we thought he was going to, and you could see why they would get frustrated with that. Again, they don't have those years of credit built up with Patrick Kane. So I don't know if I look, I'll bag on Rangers fans all the time. I hate New York fans. I think they're the worst in sports. They think they're the greatest and they suck. But like, he's going to get treated a little more evenly in New York than he would here, because here he could do no wrong for the most part.
Yeah, if you criticize Patrick Kane during the Cup years, you RIP to your Twitter mentions. Like,
Yeah. Well, my first thought on the backhand goal was, oh, he does know how to lift a stick and steal a puck and then find the speed to, you know what I mean? Like there have been a lot of moments recently where like, where is the speed? Where is the give it, the GAFO meter? Where is it? What's it at right now? And it was low this year, and it's understandable, but it never gets higher for Patrick Kane than when he's in the playoffs. And last night was a prime example. And Jason says analytics have never liked him, and traditional fans haven't either. We never claimed him great defensively, but give him his due. Yeah, like we've said for years that Patrick Kane is like, he is a kind of analytics don't like him because he doesn't drive scoring chances in volume, but it's those great moments that he generates. When he's on the ice 3, 4, 5 times a game, he's going to generate a prime scoring chance with a great pass or a great shot or whatever. Analytics don't like that because analytics are more of a counting thing right now than a quality. And Kane is more quality over quantity.
I mean, we've seen a ton of games over the years where Patrick Kane's line gets hemmed in its own zone half the night, and then in the third period, magic happens and he gets the game-winning goal, and everybody forgets about all those shifts where he was 90 seconds in his own end chasing the puck around because it didn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't paid to play defense. He never was, never will.
No.
Right. The Avalanche bounced back. They were down 2-0, right? At one point,
after the first, down 2-0, gave up a shorty. They looked discombobbled. Georgiev looked bad, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what was said after the first in the first intermission, but they got their wake up call, and the Kraken, I think, might be in trouble a little bit. I know it's 1-1 and it's going back to Seattle, but Avalanche looked like the Cup champions that we know. From that second period on, they scored 2 goals in 48 seconds, and you just would like, when's the third one coming? It's coming any moment now.
Yep. I mean, that's for years we talked about that with the Hawks. Switch to flip the switch rather.
And
they just find that level, and it took 4 periods for Colorado to find it. But I'm really interested because I think the atmosphere in Seattle is going to be great. Not that the Avalanche can overcome that. They're used to that. They've gone deep into playoffs. They know what it's like. But I don't know. I think Seattle's going to be up for grabs, because if you told those fans you're going to head back in this series tied at 1, and you tell those players that's going to happen, everyone's saying, hell yeah, sign me up. So, it's going to be fun to watch, see how it goes. But yeah, Colorado has found that level. Look out. And what do we make of the Golden Knights? Anything? Just kind of.
Well, that was similar to the Colorado game.
Yeah.
Because the Jets dominated the first period. And it was the same as game 1. They were like, I think the Golden Knights had 3 or 4 shots in the first period, and they couldn't get anything together. And then they get the goal by William Karlsson, who has been a major disappointment since signing that big contract. But he's got 2 goals already in the playoffs, so he's doing it when it matters. That's how he got that big contract in the first place. And then they roll to a 5-2 win. You're not going to score 5 goals against Connor Hellebuyck very often, so take advantage of it while you can. But just like with the Kraken, Winnipeg is going to be up for grabs for Game 3. And if you would have told the Jets, "Hey, you might get your ass kicked in Game 2, but you're coming home series tied," they're taking it. So now they got the next 2 on home ice and can take control of that series. And Winnipeg's a smaller arena. Everybody's right on top of you. I'm sure they're going to do the whiteout, and it's going to be a cool atmosphere there too. So that's going to be a tough challenge for the Kings, or for the Golden Knights to if that series goes back to Vegas 2-2, I think Vegas is happy.
Well, they're going to steal the whiteout from the Coyotes. Damn, that's cold.
I think they got it in the settlement when it went back. They
part of the deal.
They got it as part of the trade for Shea Weber's contract, I think.
Oh, nice. That's a good deal.
That's a good throw in.
Yeah.
Which one game are you guys interested in most tonight? For me, it's Dallas and Minnesota. I've loved that series. It feels like a conference final just in terms of energy and intensity. So that's the one I'm really geared up on. How about you guys?
kind of want to see all of them except for the Carolina one. The Carolina Islanders has been the least interesting, even though they've been close games, but it's kind of like, it's the Islanders. They make things boring. The Hurricanes are missing a lot of their exciting players. But yeah, Dallas, Minnesota is one I can't wait to see how that bounces back. I think a lot of that has to do is because we're so familiar with those two teams. They're in the Central. Yeah. We've seen a lot of them this year. We know a lot of those players. And it's Connor McDavid plays tonight. I'm always excited. He's only got 1 point in 2 games. It's coming. It's coming. Trust me. Yeah. Freedom. And then Boston. What are they going to do? They're going to bounce back. It's now back to Florida. That's going to be an intriguing game. Florida goes up 2-1 in this series. Whew, I don't know, man. Because Patrice Bergeron, am I right? He did not travel to Florida. I thought I saw that this morning.
I believe that's the case. Yeah,
that's huge. You can maybe get away with a game or two without Patrice Bergeron, but the longer he misses, the more that benefits the Panthers. And I don't think their goaltending is healthy. Linus Ullmark played really good in game 1, but he looked like not 100% goalie in game 2. I know Jeremy Swayman's not 100% either. So I don't know, maybe playing so hard down the stretch to get those records are coming back to bite the Bruins, but then again, they can come out and win 9-0 tonight and make me look like a dope.
Yeah. He says, I think I saw game 5 for Bergeron. That's right. I just saw that on Twitter. That's the report as Bergeron's aiming to debut in game 5. And that's a nice reinforcement if you can get it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Hopefully for their sake, I hope they're not down 3-1 at that point. Cause
hopefully
it's going to be like, come save us, Patrice.
Yeah. And he probably still could. Biggest game tonight for me is out in Des Moines, Iowa. Ice Hogs and Wild. Game 2. Ice Hogs with a chance to win their best of 3 play-in round series and head into the regular AHL Calder Cup playoffs with a win tonight. So game 2, they're up 1-0. Should be a good one. But yeah, I mean, I understand this is a question about the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yeah, the Wild and Dallas, that's going to be where I'm paying attention tonight for sure. Yep. And where you all should be paying attention tonight,
yes,
and all nights, is making sure that your beer fridge is stocked and ready for watching all of the playoff games late into the night. Make sure you're stocking up on that delicious Goose Island beer. They're flying overhead in my closet. CHGO and Goose Island are partnered together. Goose Island is the official beer of us here at CHGO, and they have been Chicago's beer since 1988. And how can you argue against this talented roster with the Goose IPA, a 6-time medal winner at the Great American Beer Fest, always in style with a citrus aroma and a bold hop finish. And of course, they have the Tropical Beer Hug, a dry hopped Imperial IPA, which is at a 9.9% alcohol by volume. Dangerously easy to drink. That'll take care of you this summer. They got the full pocket pills and everyday beer. It's what the beer brewers are drinking. And of course, the 312, the staple of their roster, always in season for the 312. So make sure that you can get out to their 2 Chicago locations and grab an ultra fresh brewery exclusive beer at the Goose Island Original Brew House located on Clybourne Ave in Lincoln Park. Or you can go to their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Get yourself a beer right from their innovation tanks there. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer. And also want to mention, join us here at CHGO and specifically the CHGO Bears crew, Goose Island Brewing, and other CHGO diehard fans for an NFL draft party. I got hockey on the brain. NFL draft party at Joe's Bar on Weed Street. That is April 27th and 28th coming up this time next week. The NFL draft is here, and we at CHGO are throwing 2 parties you won't want to miss. Come out to Joe's Bar on Weed Street for an experience that includes an extended CHGO Bears live show, draft coverage, and a premium drink package. You can purchase night 1 Tickets for night 1, which is round 1, Thursday night, and then night 2, which is rounds 2 and 3 on Friday night, or get a ticket for both nights. Each night must be purchased separately. There is general admission, but also reserved table seating, VIP booth seating, and VIP seating right in front of the stage where the CHGO Bears crew will be doing their live show, so you can smell the bricks right off of Greg Bragg's. We'll have giveaways and CHGO merchandise available for purchase. All tickets include an all-inclusive premium drink package that features Goose Island beer and cocktails from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the main front bar of Joe's. Food is available for purchase at from Joe's Kitchen as well. This event is 21 plus, and entrance is only entrance with a valid ID only.
Gentlemen, I'll actually say this. We now have, I'm moving everyone everywhere. We have got a couple different options now. So if you aren't a drinker, which I know some of us are not, there are deals that are not for $60. So check out the website, the link that we have, and there are different options. 2 nights, I'll be there producing. It's going to be a long couple of nights.
Bears.
Yeah.
I will be there enjoying the Goose Island drink package.
Right,
and not working.
We'll make sure Lawrence has plenty of that Viet 5 coffee ready to go so he can get through those 2 long days. Draft days are long. Yes, they are.
You drink that Viet 5, he'll get through both days in one shot.
There you go.
Braggs as you run through a wall.
Yeah, Braggs can build it, and then Lawrence can run right through it.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Mario, you mentioned a couple minutes ago about beer fridges, and if you want to save money on the energy that it takes to keep that beer fridge cold, that's where the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program comes in, and it's committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
Yeah, Mario, ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across their territory. And they offer free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
Gee, guys, how does that work?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Mario. An authorized engineer will help work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. And it can be done in person or virtually, like this podcast. And they last approximately 2 hours, unlike this podcast. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, and potential incentives and simple payback. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to comed.com/poweringbiz.
Did you say powering biz as in B-I-Z?
That's right. Schedule it today and save some energy.
Save your monergies.
Oh, Lord. Is it clear that it's Friday? I think it's clear that it's Friday.
It is Friday.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. Hey, guess what? It's the off season, so we got 2 days off. We'll be back Monday at 2 o'clock. I would say probably plan on a mailbag Monday. Fellas, you agree?
Yeah, I think we can.
I think we just made that decision right here on the air. Mailbag Monday. Start getting those questions in, kids.
Yeah, we'll send a tweet shortly after the show here, asking for your questions. If you want to hit us up on the CHGO Diehards Only Discord, you can do that too. Or email us blackhawks@allchgo.com, and we'll get your questions in Monday at 2 o'clock. Thanks to Lawrence for running the show today. We appreciate you. Thanks to MacKenzie Entwistle for joining the show. Thanks to the Chicago Blackhawks for making that happen. Yep. And hopefully we can make some more of those happen as the summer goes on. But until Monday, for Greg and Mario, I'm Jay. This has been the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.